But we turn next to our senior correspondent, Susan Ormiston. And Susan is another member of our CBC News team covering the invasion. She is in Lviv, Ukraine this morning and live with us once again. Susan, with you, let's begin with what we know, the situation on the ground and the latest on the fighting this morning.
Well, today marks a week since this Russian invasion began. So where are we at? Well, according to the British Defense Ministry, that long column, armed Russian column that was advancing on Kyiv is now pretty much stalled, hasn't moved significantly in 3 days. It's north of the capital. The British Defense Ministry saying there are problems with mechanical breakdowns, with Ukrainian resistance and perhaps congestion. So it's staying put for the moment, according to Britain and American intelligence sources. Also, we did see heavy shelling overnight in the capital city, 2 major explosions there, and as well in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second biggest city, consistent shelling there. And down in the south, the city of Kherson is a bit unclear at the moment. Russians have entered that strategic city along the corridor from Crimea to Russia. But the mayor says the Ukrainian flag is still flying. We're not exactly sure whether the Russians are in control or not. That could become apparent later today. So consistent shelling still. President of Ukraine, Zelensky, said this morning that the Russian plan to swiftly take this country via a land assault has failed, and so they have switched tactics to nighttime shelling, and that is what we're seeing here.
Susan, as part of your reporting, you've been bringing us the stories of the resistance. What have you been seeing and hearing from the Ukrainian civilians who are fighting this Russian threat?
Well, you know, a week in, one example right here in Lviv, there's a coffee shop behind me called Black Honey. You can see the Ukrainian flag there on the window. A small gesture, the sale of really gourmet coffee, cappuccinos, etc. Part of the sale of those proceeds are going to the Ukrainian army. We're seeing things like that across the country in a south city of Ukraine where there's a large nuclear facility, the second largest in Europe. People lined up across a road protesting the Russian advance, trying to protect the nuclear plant there, calling them occupiers and telling them to get back. And we are seeing little scenes of that in different places around the country. Here in Lviv, we spent some time talking to a group of young people who are doing 2 things, really, assembling donations of clothing, medicine, food to distribute from here, Lviv, to the front lines in other parts of Ukraine. And they're also making what they call Lviv smoothies, which are recycled wine and beer bottles filled with a mixture of oil and gas stuffed with a rag and, of course, lit on fire. They become Molotov cocktails, and they're sending those in carloads out to other parts of Ukraine. But what we're seeing is a real sort of resistance movement growing up amongst these young people. And one of the people I talked to said it's like the Maidan, which was the revolution in 2014 in Kyiv, which led to the fall of the Ukrainian president at the time. So it's a new generation taking on this spirit of resistance, and it's quite a lot.
I'm angry. I don't afraid. I'm angry to Russia because we were living nice. After 30 years, finally raised from that Soviet Union, and we want to Europe. We won't be part of Europe Union.
So that was Oleg. He's a lawyer, a real estate lawyer here in the city. He's 28 years old, and he's organizing students and young professionals to do this kind of work as volunteers.
Susan, thank you very much. Senior correspondent Susan Ormiston from Lviv.